Content warning. Episodes of Grey Matter may contain themes and depictions of extreme mental illness, traumatic bodily harm, and death. If you aren't in the right headspace to engage with those depictions right now, maybe this episode should wait for another time. Otherwise, proceed with caution.
Hey there! Welcome back to Grey Matter Video. What? You heard we were shutting down? Well, you know what they say. Rumors, give you tumors? Anyway, no, this store will be here long after the last bastion of the whimpering human race has been swept beneath the waves. And tragically, unless I find a job with a better hourly, so will I. But it's hard to know who to trust these days. Do you get your news from billionaire-owned conglomerate media, or from the whack jobs with a few hundred idiot followers that tell you that clouds are faked by the government? The successful modern citizen must be a discerning consumer, despite the fact that discernment itself is the ultimate enemy of capitalist consumption. But when strange, unprecedented things happen, we find ourselves picking and choosing which pieces of news to believe while we wait for the dust to settle. And all too often, we only choose to believe that which inconveniences us the least. It can be easy to forget that true material reality exists at all, and that it makes up only part of the complex spiderweb of cause and effect. The other part, unfortunately potent, is perception. This tape is called The Nightwire, and it's about a group of people forced to ponder the consequences of a world without a filter for truth, one where perception itself can shape reality. And like all our tapes, it's a true story. Take my word for it.
The Nightwire, written and directed by Jonathan Inbody and adapted from the short story of the same name by H.F. Arnold.
I hate these Nightwire jobs. There's something unnatural about them. You sit in an empty office, in an empty building, and listen in on the whispers of a civilization. New York, London, Tokyo, Calcutta. They're your next-door neighbors after the streetlights go dim and the world has gone to sleep. There were a million little click farms and news aggregators around, tucked into the upper floors of half-empty office space in every city in the world. And the Cincinnati Wire was no different. It was the kind of place where squirrely young interns thrived, and where disgraced industry veterans went to rot after washing out of all the respectable media organizations they had once worked for. I was the editor on duty for the overnight crew, where a once bustling bullpen had been reduced to a stable group of 4. Under me was Reed McElhenney, arguably the worst kind of writer, the sober kind. 2 floors down, buried in the remains of a once respectable office, was John Morgan, an old-school newsman who had made his bones with a cold case expose on the East Coast's least notable serial killer. Now, he was the only effective data aggregator I knew that was over 45. The 3 of us shared D, the last remaining intern turned full-time night assistant, and a girl who had entirely too much energy for the middle of the night. 5 nights a week, the 4 of us would sit in the emptied-out husk of the grand old building that had hosted the Cincinnati Wire ever since it was a struggling local newspaper, and pretended to respect it as it struggled to survive as the internet age version of a gossip rag. Not too many stories broke overnight, and the ones that did we could have written from home, but we received a commuter stipend and a constant flow of petty cash for cheap takeout, so we showed up and made do. Most nights, I read a book, Dee watched Korean soap operas on her phone, and Reed forced himself to write what he seemed to think would become the great American novel. None of us knew what Morgan did, but it was probably a better use of his time. It was a cool, quiet night as I walked from my desk to the window and stared out at the dark city a few stories beneath us. Every few buildings, a solitary light shined out to let me know we weren't the only ones awake, and every now and then the occasional car lit up the narrow streets around our building, but it still felt like a ghost town. As the night editor of a site no one read, I was just another one of the ghosts. The ding of the elevator jarred me out of my thoughts, and I turned to look over my shoulder as Dee stepped out, awkwardly balancing bags of food under her arms.
I'm back.
You left?
Yeah, went to get lunch. It was Reed's pick today.
Please tell me it isn't tacos again.
Nope. Chinese takeout. The only other place still open at the bright and early hour of... Christ, 2:13 a.m. Here, I got you that sesame chicken you like.
Thank you, Dee. You're a lifesaver. Did you drop off Morgan's downstairs?
Huh? Oh, yeah. I don't know what he thinks he's after tonight, but he didn't even look up when I dropped it off. Just said thanks and went back to his screens.
Has he got the third monitor hooked up?
Mm-hmm.
Then he thinks he's onto something. Give it 5 minutes. He'll blow up the work chat while we're eating.
I've got something, Erica.
What have you got?
I've got a dead German ambassador in his hotel room in New York. Police chatter says it's probably a heart attack. I could probably spin it, make it sound a little more sinister.
You know, Reed, when you said you had something, I assume you meant something people would click on. Whatever. Call the hotel and the German consulate for comment and get it written up. Probably can't beat the Times, but maybe the Post.
On it. Hey, Dee, did you give me that lo mein thing with the pork and the...
On your desk.
Awesome, thanks.
What was on the screens?
Huh?
When you were in Morgan's office, what did he have on his screens?
I don't know. It was social media feeds, mostly. There was some low-res picture he had blown up, too. Like fog rolling through a city or something.
What the hell is he after?
Chemical leak? Ecological disaster?
Maybe, but nobody else picked it up yet? None of the real sites?
Stranger things have happened.
Shit, here we go. Couldn't even let me get one bite in. Dee, can you just see if it's anything worth following up on?
No problem. I'm checking it now. What's Zebico?
What?
Zebico. Is it a country? A city? Sounds kind of South American, but not quite. Maybe Indonesian?
Is that what Morgan's after? A gas leak in Indonesia? I thought it might have been real news.
No, this... What is this? Here, take a look.
Dee handed me her phone. On the screen, I could see images Morgan had sent to the group chat. Screenshots of posts from different social media platforms. The first one, a text post from an account called Zebico News, looked to be some kind of official statement. Zebico, January 16th Bulletin. The heaviest mist in the history of the city settled over town at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. All traffic is stopped and the mist covers everything like a blanket. Lights of ordinary intensity cannot pierce the fog, which carries a sickly, pungent odor and is growing heavier by the hour. Local scientists are unable to agree on the cause. At 7 p.m., municipal authorities instructed all persons present in the affected area to shelter in place until more information is known. What the hell?
It's weird, right?
Yeah, Reed, have you ever heard of Zebico?
How's it spelled?
Xebico.
No, I don't think so. Do you want me to look into it?
Morgan's sending it. Just look at the chat. Did he send the link to the post?
Yeah, right there. Look at the replies. There's pictures.
I scrolled down, where another account, this one tied to a Greek-sounding first name, had posted a picture looking out the window of a second-story apartment. Just below it, billows of thick, white mist covered everything but the very tops of streetlights and trees. The vague, dark outlines of parked cars and a bus stop shelter were barely visible inside the cloud, and at least one shape that looked like a person.
I can't find a Zebico anywhere. No results.
Check the Greek islands.
No, you're not. I literally just Googled it. No results.
Well, it has to exist. I'm looking at photos of it. Look at that. This one's street level. Look at those swirls of color at the edges. It looks like it's made of bubble solution. This one's new. Another statement. Zebico, January 16th, Bulletin. Unverified rumors indicate a party of police inside the affected zone have been dispatched to investigate a possible origin of the fog at a neighborhood churchyard. Reports claim a groundskeeper of the church cemetery made his way to the station, gave a statement, and then collapsed. Jesus, look at the comments. My daughter told me someone just pounded on her door, then screamed. It's been quiet ever since. Has anyone else seen the things moving in the thickest part of the mist? Here's one in all caps. If pets run outside, do not follow. My husband is gone.
Are we going live with this? Should we start sharing the posts? Reads like clickbait to me. Smoke covered this unknown city. You won't believe what happened next.
No. Don't post anything just yet. Just save it all and keep gathering. Set up a Google alert. Check the other sites.
There's nothing, Erica. Nobody's... Unless everybody else is waiting for verification, we're the only ones who have this. Exclusive. Could be your ticket back to the big leagues.
Yeah, well, it might just be a hoax. Some kind of marketing campaign or something. Orson Welles, War of the Worlds. A radio show with a fake news bulletin about aliens landing in a town called Grover's Mill in New Jersey. It was just actors reading from a script, but it was real enough to send the whole country into a frenzy.
A hoax with that many accounts, though? I mean, look at all the people posting about it.
A marketing firm can't make a bunch of sock puppets?
Well, I don't know if it hurts or helps, but I'm telling you, there's no record of a Zebico anywhere. What language is it?
The posts are in English.
Might be translated. The grammar on the news account is kind of stiff. Southern Hemisphere, maybe? The pictures don't look like winter.
So what in the hell? Okay, well, fuck it, right? It'll get clicks just for the mystery. It's kind of cool, you know? Ghost story shit.
I want to know where it's coming from first. What if it's a psyop thing? Some right-wing troll farm trying to start a panic about a new chemical weapon?
Well, scroll back on some of the accounts. See if any of them have posted anything fishy about, quote, the Jews. Wait, they might call them globalists.
They look like normal accounts to me. I'll keep checking.
Erica, level with me here. You're not thinking about War of the Worlds. You're thinking about that kid back in Chicago. But that wasn't your fault, okay? It's your job to report the news. Let other people figure out how to react. Taking the risk is part of the job.
I'm not just gonna... We have a responsibility. To ourselves and to our readers.
So say it can't be verified. Do you think anybody else, do you think some weirdo on Reddit is going to think twice before posting all of this to r/news and getting 100,000 clicks? You play this right, we write it up and start pushing it hard. We can get to this before anybody else and make those assholes on day shift look like the tortoise to our hair.
The hair loses.
I don't give a shit. Just listen to me. Do you want to be on Nights Forever? Because I sure as shit don't. And a byline on a story that goes viral looks pretty damn good on a resume. If we don't act fast, all those clicks go somewhere else. For the love of God, just make the story about how mysterious the posts are. Then it doesn't matter if people believe them. Besides, debunking is great for publicity, especially if it's a hoax. Traffic will go through the roof.
All right, start drafting just in case.
Thank you. God.
The scale of this is all wrong. It's too big. Too many things that have to go together just right. Makes me uneasy.
Me too. What did Breed mean with what he said to you before? About Chicago?
Believe it or not, I used to work for a respectable news org. Do you remember the mass shooting at that Chicago church? The guy that shot up the nursery while service was in session, then came in and lit up the choir and the head pastor?
No, there's too many to keep track of.
Yeah. Well, The guy took off before the police could get there, and for a day or two no one was sure just who the hell he was. But people on the internet thought they had a suspect. Young guy, history of mental illness, posted a bunch of anti-religious shit on the church's social media pages. I thought they might have been onto something, so I wrote an article about it. Nothing dicey, nothing certain, no name, just something about how the internet thought they found the guy that did it. Well, one of the parents of one of those dead kids in the nursery seemed to take my article to heart. He found the name online, broke into the guy's house, and beat him to death with a brick.
Oh my God.
The police caught the real shooter the next day. Said the pastor touched him when he was a kid. Said the pastor's wife, who ran the nursery, covered it up. And all of that horror and death, like that wasn't enough. I had to add one more body. Some harmless, medicated schizophrenic who never knew why someone bashed his brains in.
Erica, you can't blame yourself for that.
I disagree.
You couldn't have known that would happen.
But I should have thought that it might. What we do, what we say, and the way we say it, it matters. These aren't hypotheticals. These are real lives we're reporting on. If I'm stuck here for the rest of my career, it's better than what I deserve.
But you're only seeing half of it. If you don't report something that people need to know, you could be responsible for a lot worse. If whatever is happening in Zebico is... if it's... Okay, that's weird.
What is?
I was just looking at that account, the one with the post about her husband going missing. It's been deleted.
The post?
The account. A couple of the other commenters, too. A bunch of the accounts are just dummy links now.
Shit. We've got screenshots, right?
I've got some, not all of them.
Keep looking. Screenshot everything, send it to the group chat. Reed, how's that article coming?
I just sat down.
Accounts are getting scrubbed. As soon as you have a draft, we're taking it live. You might be right, Dee. Whatever's going on in Zebico, if someone's trying to cover it up, then it's on us to make sure it gets out into the world. What if we're the only ones that know?
You think it's a government thing?
I'm not sure yet. Any new posts?
Yeah, I've got... Oh, God. Zebico, January 16th bulletin. Second group of police dispatched after the first group stopped responding to calls. Screams have been reported in the vicinity of the graveyard. The fog has grown thicker. The smell of rot is overpowering. Municipal authorities have urged me to remind those in the affected area to stay indoors. Do not leave your homes. Do not attempt to help anyone outside. To report the location of people who may need assistance, please contact your local police precinct.
Screenshot it.
Already did.
More from Morgan. What does he...
It's a video.
I watched as Dee opened the link and turned up the volume, and the two of us stared. With the telltale shake of a handheld phone recording, we watched someone walk down a dark hallway, looking down at their phone with their face illuminated by the light of the screen.
I know they said we're not supposed to go out, but my mom lives like 5 minutes away and she's not answering her phone. She has seizures. Nobody but me knows to check on her, and if she fell and hit her head, I'm gonna wrap a scarf around my face. Hopefully it'll keep me from breathing any of that shit in. If I die, tell somebody something. Okay, here goes.
The view of the recording changed from the camera on the front of the phone to the one on the back. Wisps of white fog rolled inside through an open door, and we heard the person recording take a deep breath before running out into the street. For a second, everything was white. Then, just at the edge of visibility, there were shapes and colors in the fog. We saw shoes running, the center line of a cracked street rushing past, and stray pools of light barely reaching the street from the dim light shining above. Everything we could hear was muted, like every footstep and panting breath bounced off the wall of mist, or was absorbed. As the man kept running, he pointed his phone camera out in front of him, and we watched as twisting billows of luminous fog streaked past. Shreds of the same strange rainbow light seemed to dance in cloudburst twirls, almost lashing out as the man with the camera ran forward. He stopped at an intersection and moved close to a street sign, waving a hand in front of it to dispel enough of the fog to read the words. Then he tore off again, phone bouncing in his hand. In the distance, a muted scream pierced the silence of the fog. The man slowed to an immediate stop, turning his camera back and forth at identical patches of indistinguishable mist. Suddenly, as his camera turned, it revealed a murky, rippling figure, and with a gasp, the man with the camera turned to run. Only a few frantic steps later, the recording stopped. What is happening out there?
What is that thing? That shape? It didn't look like a person, did it? Not all the way.
It was just somebody else in the fog.
Do you really believe that? What if it's real?
Ready to go live with the article?
Good. Add something at the bottom about live updates. Let's start sharing screenshots of the posts to the Wire's account as they come through. Nothing fancy, just the picture, a Zebico hashtag, a link to the story, and a simple caption. Updating or breaking or something to catch the eye. D, come on, I need you moving.
Accounts are disappearing before I can save the posts.
Fuck. Okay. Tell Morgan to save everything as he finds it. Whatever he's doing, he's way ahead of us here.
Story's out.
All right, everybody share it on your socials. Let's see if we can get this thing trending.
Morgan says he has pictures of some of the ones we're missing.
Thank God old people don't trust the internet.
I'll update the article as it comes through.
Please and thank you.
Oh God, look at this. People are saying the fog is seeping in through the cracks in their doors. People with second floors are getting as high up as they can, and people without. Erica, what if the accounts that are disappearing are the ones owned by the people getting caught in the mist?
And what? It's using their phones?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Another new post from the news account. Update, Zebico fog. All over the city, residents are leaving their homes and taking shelter in their local churches and centers of worship, where clergy are holding services of prayer and supplication. The scene is beyond description. Adults and children are terrified, shouting, crying. People living on the outskirts of the affected area are reporting the sound of unknown voices in the fog, echoing in near musical tones with no clear cadence or rhythm. The noises sound like flutes, trumpets, woodwind instruments, as they would sound imitated by human throats, like wind through giant tunnels. But there is no wind.
It's getting picked up. The article's already got... What's wrong with you two?
It's creepy. All of it.
And getting worse.
I really hope so. We've got an audience now. I posted a link on some conspiracy subreddit. They're doing half the work for us.
Anyone commenting?
Someone from 4chan called it, quote, fake and gay.
Do any of them know where Zebico is?
You guys don't think it's real, do you? I mean, it's clever, it's brilliant, but this kind of shit happens on the internet all the time. It's like all those TikToks of empty airports, or all that backrooms bullshit on YouTube. Big mysterious setting, monsters that look like stick figure spaghetti, and the second you want a satisfying answer, the thing cuts off. It's dime a dozen creepypasta bullshit. Well executed, I'll give you that, but nothing else. If it was real news would pick it up.
We are real news.
Since when?
We need to call someone. The Coast Guard or something.
Now who's getting hysterical?
Read.
What? This is reality, not War of the Worlds. Do you really think that this is the one time in modern history that an unprecedented supernatural event is happening?
What if it is?
Then it's not Orson Welles. It's the Hindenburg, or 9/11. It's an earth-shaking, traumatic change to mankind's place in the universe, and the night crew at the Cincinnati goddamn Wire broke the story. Out of the two possibilities, which one do you think happens more often?
He's right, Dee. He has to be.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
I mean, look at this. It's haunted house bullshit. Update, Zebico. There will be no more news from this office. The impossible has happened. All our phones are dead. No messages have come into the room for the last 10 minutes. We are cut off from outside and even the streets below us. I have taken the stairs to the 13th floor for safety. I will stay on this account until the end. No search party has returned. No municipal authorities remain. I can see the whole city from here. There is only a thick blanket of fog where once there were lights and life. I am afraid that the screams heard at the outskirts of Zebico are the death cries of its inhabitants. They are getting louder, moving inward towards downtown. The fog is even heavier and different somehow. Where there was once an opaque, impenetrable wall, now there is a swirling, writhing mass in contortions of almost human agony. Sometimes it parts and I see the streets. There are people running, screaming, and above the din is the whistling of unseen winds. It's beneath me now. It's not vapor. It's alive. Behind every moaning and weeping man, woman, and child is a matching figure, an aura rippling in a strange array of colors. The shapes cling like glue, each to a living thing. The men and women are down, flat on their faces. The shapes are kneeling beside them, almost caressing them. I can't say the rest. They are being consumed. The wall of vapor is closing in again, saving me from looking. It's changing colors like the fog is on fire. I've made a mistake. The colors are reflected. They're coming from above. Look up. Look up. The sky is burning with colors no one's ever seen. My eyes are on fire. They are swirling, circling, lashing and twisting in kaleidoscopic patterns, writhing like something alive in the sea. I can't.
I'll read it. I have made a discovery. There is nothing harmful in the lights. They radiate force and friendliness, but by their strength, they hurt. As I look,
As I look, they're swinging closer and closer. 1,000,000 miles at each jump. 1,000,000 miles at the speed of light. Beneath them, the fog is melting into rainbows. I can see the streets. They are filled with people. The lights are coming closer. They are all around me. I am embraced. No one talked much after that. We went back to our desks, waiting for an update that never came, watching as the article spread and the accounts disappeared. Soon, in only minutes, they were all gone. It was a relief when the sun rose. It let us pretend that the world made sense again, that as the light shined through the streets and glimmered off the buildings, it was burning away the primal, childlike fear hiding in the shadows underneath us, alongside everything left of Zebico. Our uneaten lunches were cold. As the morning rolled on, the day shift began to filter in, moving around us effortlessly like we were nothing but ghosts. Someone complimented Reed at the coffee machine, and one of the other former interns flashed Dee a thumbs up as he walked by. As I was packing my things to leave, an assistant swung by to tell me the editor-in-chief wanted to see me.
Erica, come on in.
Do we have to do this now, Tim? I'm exhausted.
I'll bet. You had a busy night. So how long have you been working on this thing right under my nose?
What do you mean?
This Zebico thing. I don't know what you call it, story or multimedia experience or alternate reality game or whatever. How long did it take you? Did you pay somebody for the graphics and stuff, or did you make it yourself? Not like I'm complaining. We got more clicks than a pen factory overnight. It's impressive as hell, honestly. I don't know how you managed to put it together.
I didn't.
Okay, I get it. Trade secrets. I understand. I'll tell you what, though. I already had the local news, a YouTube channel, and 2 podcasts reach out to book you for an interview. This thing's, holy shit, people love it. Did you hire writers? No, wait, don't tell me. That was Reed, right? He told me he was working on a novel, but I'll bet he was working on this for you, right? What do you call it? Just Zebico or something, right?
I don't know what you call it.
You want my opinion? I call it a certified moneymaker. The Wire owns half the rights, of course, since you used our reach to do it. You, Reed, and Dee can split the other 50% however you want. You've probably got your own agreement anyways. You ever think about Hollywood? I know a guy.
No,
Sorry, I'm probably babbling. Go home. Get some sleep. You've earned it. I'll have Maria call you at 2 or 3 to set up some interviews. We can't lose the momentum on this.
Yeah.
All right, great. I'll talk to you then. Close the door on your way out, would you?
I walked back to my desk in a daze, and as I picked up my things and put on my coat, I glanced out the window at the light-soaked city beneath me. On the far side of town, at the riverfront, I thought I could see a light mist rolling gently in. I passed Reed on my way to the elevator, and we met eyes as someone clapped him on the back. Silently, we both agreed to the lie we hadn't needed to establish. As the elevator doors closed, I saw Dee running to the bathroom, clutching a hand over her mouth. A few floors down, a thought struck me, and I reached out to press another button. I stepped out when the elevator stopped and started down the hallway towards Morgan's office. If anyone deserved credit, it was him. I wasn't sure he'd go along with it. He was just too honest. But someone ought to at least explain the way our story had been understood by the public at large. No one answered when I knocked on the door. When I turned the knob, I opened the door into an empty janitorial closet. No one on the floor has ever heard of John Morgan, and I suspected the same was true of the rest of the building, with the exception of one frustrated novelist and a traumatized assistant. I don't think I'll ever see him again, any more than I'll ever get a postcard from Zebico. I hate these nightwire jobs.
The Nightwire was written and directed by Jonathan Inbody and adapted from the short story of the same name by H.F. Arnold. It was edited by Jeffrey Lavin, with music composed and performed by Samantha Hunt. Erica, the narrator, was played by Andrea Inbody. Dee was played by Samantha Hunt, and Reed was played by Jonathan Inbody. Eric Miller played the editor-in-chief, and Oriana Quinn played the concerned citizen. Gray Matter is a Word Search Media production. Any similarities to real people, places, or things is purely coincidental. Be kind. Rewind.